Okay.
All right. So placing my hands on my heart and taking that breath of love and gratitude. That deep cleansing breath that brings us back to peace. So grateful for this time to come together to be the two or more gathered in the name and the nature of love. Grateful for our willingness to shine away any and all blocks to love. Grateful to know that our divine perfect innocence is the truth of our being, that love is the truth of who we are and what we are. And we are grateful to come together with our mighty companions, our earthly and heavenly helpers, and to be open and receptive to what is and what will be, and knowing that in every moment is divine perfection. Everything is for our good. Everything is for our good. We are grateful for the mighty companions. We ask that they surround and support us during our conversation today, that they bless the technology we get to use to come together, that they bless each person here and all who may listen later. We are grateful and thankful for the blessings and for our willingness to be open to receive them. And we're grateful that we can share those blessings and the love that we are with everyone, because we are one with them. In grace and gratitude, we let it be. And so it is. Amen. So, yeah, the energy has been a little funkadelic this past week. Almost every single person that I've talked to has been like, WTF is going on? So, yeah. So we are reading in the ACIM Extension Psychotherapy Process and Practice. And we're in chapter 2, section 2, the place of religion in psychotherapy. I'm going to start us off with paragraphs 3 and 4. And Carolyn.
I don't have that in my book. Are you going to put it up on and share it? That piece, I don't have that in my book.
Which book do you have?
It's like a Bible. It like has everything in it, and the pages are like a Bible. I found it years ago and I just bought it because everything was in it, except the Song of Prayer.
Okay, well, the Song of Prayer and the psychotherapy are both extensions that you purchase separately, but you can get them online.
Right.
You can get them online as a free PDF.
Oh, I could bring it up myself.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't typically share it as a screen share. Yeah.
Okay.
So wherever you were reading it from. So yeah, I'm going to start us with paragraphs 3 and 4.
Because in the Song of Prayer?
No, in the Psychotherapy Purpose, Process, and Practice.
Oh, okay. I'm asking anyway.
It's okay. It wouldn't be the same if you didn't. Oh God.
Oh, you're regular, right?
Love you, my friend. Okay.
Yeah.
And this week we are learning, I mean, I swear to God, this week I have learned to laugh at the things that I didn't want to laugh at. So paragraph 3. No one who learns to forgive can fail to remember God. Forgiveness then is all that need be taught, because it is all that need be learned. All blocks to the remembrance of God are forms of unforgiveness and nothing else. This is never apparent to the patient and only rarely so to the therapist. The world has marshaled all its forces against this one awareness, for in it lies the ending of the world and all it stands for. You think that's where Gary Renard got Disappearance of the Universe? And paragraph 4, yet it is not the awareness of God. that constitutes a reasonable goal for psychotherapy. This will come when psychotherapy is complete. For where there is forgiveness, truth must come. It would be unfair indeed if belief in God were necessary to psychotherapeutic success. That's a mouthful. Nor is belief in God a really meaningful concept, for God can be but known. Belief implies that unbelief is possible, but knowledge of God has no true opposite. Not to know God is to have no knowledge, and it is to this that all unforgiveness leads. And without knowledge, one can have only belief. So I talked about last week a little bit about the experience that I had in the Stop Playing Small retreat. And so I was still working with that lesson of forgiveness through the middle to end of last week. And then it shifted to something else that I was like, the stuff was up, is all I can say. The stuff was up. And every single person that I've talked to, whether they're an ACIM student or not, their stuff is up. And so we had this morning at 7 a.m., Sarah Shearer and I lead the food freedom support group. And every single person that shared in there had this kind of same experience going on. Like, the crap hit the fan and they were just covered with it. And so each person that shared what they came to in the end, and what I also came to, is the space where we were opening ourselves up to be able to receive love. And it felt uncomfortable and awkward. And even becoming the happy learners in that space, our personalities, when we heard the lesson for yesterday, which is what I'm going to read the insights of at the end of today, because it was like a slap in the face. Everybody who heard 268, which is let everything be exactly as they are, all wanted to give God the finger after reading that yesterday. And the great thing about that is, I'm just imagining that he's laughing at us and he's laughing with us. Because when we feel that way, like, are you kidding me? I don't want to let things be exactly as they are. That doesn't feel good. It doesn't mean that it's still not perfect. It's still not exactly as it should be for our learning. And, I can just imagine the, like my son, when he was a little kid, and getting to a place where he wanted what he wanted when he wanted it. And, when I was telling him that he couldn't have it, maybe he wasn't old enough to know what the middle finger was, but he was definitely feeling that towards me. And so I could respond to him with love and just laugh at that. Him not getting what he wanted was so upsetting to him. So I feel like, God is the same way with us. He's like, I understand, honey, that you want what you want right now. And you think that's what will make you happy, but that is not what will make you happy. And I know what actually is going to make you happy in the end. You cannot see the bigger picture. And so I'm just going to laugh at you and with you until it dawns on you that that's the truth of what's going on, what the situation is. So anyways, that's what we came to this morning. That's what I came to yesterday, and that's where I'm starting us off. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to share based on what we read, their experiences of last week? Go ahead, Leslie.
Hi, Linda. Thank you for your comments. I'm glad you mentioned the forgiveness opportunity you had with that person, because I did want to ask you, without putting you too much on the spot, just what did that forgiveness look like for you? Because I know when somebody, and I don't know the situation, doesn't matter, but I know when somebody's on your last nerve, they're on your last nerve. And I know when you think you're right, you think you're right. And I know that's the ego. And I was just curious, and I understand how you just said that you were still working with it throughout the week. So I imagine thoughts and feelings were coming up throughout the week about this person. And I was just curious what your forgiveness looked like.
Okay, so what happened was the way that this person was, and I judged it and called it ranting. The way that this person was ranting reminded me of when I was little, like 5 years old, and my mother and father would be screaming and cursing and throwing things at each other. You know, a couple of us Sicilian hotheads that were really too young to be having a family. And but at the time, obviously, because I was 5 and didn't have the tools that I have now and the knowledge that I have now, I was scared to death. And so my trauma response in that moment when this person was sharing was to freeze, like deer in the headlights. Like I could not speak, I could not move. And the other thing that came up for me was also the part of my personality that was like, who is he? I'm going to go after him. I'm going to take him out. You know, I'm going to bust his kneecaps and give him cement boots. Like that person was also coming up for healing at that time. And so I recognized that the Monday, a little bit of Sunday, but mostly Monday and Tuesday, I recognized that. And I could come to a place where I realized that this person was my salvation, in that they were bringing these things up for me to heal. And so again, it was perfect for my healing. It didn't feel comfortable. I wasn't enjoying it. And then my parasympathetic body had response to all of that. And so my digestion went wonky. And so for 2 or 3 days afterwards, I was miserable. I was in pain. I had headaches. I had nausea, the whole thing. And so what my forgiveness process looked like was every time a thought would come into my mind of that person and my personalities wanting to blame that person for what I was feeling physically, mentally, emotionally, I just kept reminding myself that this person is my salvation and that this opportunity for healing is exactly what I needed at this time. And that is the reason why I took Stop Playing Small, is so that I could have that quantum leap experience of healing stuff from my past that I thought was already healed. So there was a forgiveness letter, there was talking to a prayer partner, there was a spiritual counseling session with Angela. I did all of those things. I also was working with my movement work and making sure I did my lessons and my meditations and my prayer times, you know, all the things that help to support me physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I was doing them. But I also was allowing myself to feel how I felt and realize and recognize that it was not bad. It was all coming up for healing.
So
I
you
hope-
did, so you did a lot of work, obviously, which is awesome. I mean, it's not like you just said, I mean, because I love what I do believe what Cindy Bernard talks about. True forgiveness is that it never happened in the first place. It's all an illusion. It's this just a dream. It never happened. How can I be mad at this guy when he doesn't even exist except in my mind? And yet that feels like that could have so easily been a spiritual bypass had you just done that. And that's sometimes what I'm not saying I always do it, but sometimes I just want to go there like, it didn't happen. I don't want to deal with it because what you just did was a lot of work. But I think that's why you are healing the deeper levels. And this person showed up in your life for that purpose, I believe, just like you did, so that you could heal some things that you thought were already healed.
Yeah, but
So you go, girl. I mean, you are a warrior. That's some tough stuff. Wow. Because I'm just like, he's on my last nerve. I'm getting out of the class. Bite me. I don't want to see his face ever again.
Yeah.
And I know it never happened anyway. And I mean, that would just be my first reaction when somebody's ranting like that. When I paid good money to be in this class and this, I can totally see where you probably were coming from,
Oh my God. Yeah.
You did not play the victim. And I'm so proud of you for that. You were not the victim in that. And
Thank you.
You did really well. And I know it wasn't easy.
Thank you. I recognize those parts of me that were like, this person is monopolizing this class. This person shouldn't be talking to Jennifer like that. This person, this, and this person, that. And, okay, girl, you're having your own rant right here, right now.
Right.
So you just recognize that this is for your good. End of story. End of story. And so it put that part of my personality very quiet. But there was still that part of me that was like, I don't even want to go to class that last morning. But I did because I knew it was for my good, damn it. Even though I was just like, ee!
That's hard. That is tough stuff. You're doing it. That's really awesome, Linda. Thank you. I figured that's what you were going to say, that you did all that work, but I was hoping there was some little secret maybe that I was missing, that maybe there's an easier way that I forgot or something, but not so much.
Man, sometimes if there was just a little magic pill, but that doesn't exist. And honestly, learning it this way, it makes it, for me anyways, a more permanent healing, so that the next time that something comes up like that, I can be like, okay, I've been through this before. I know exactly what it is. I don't have to have a long drawn out experience of it. So,
and the truth of the matter is, he is a child of God, perfect in spirit, whole and complete. And it's just his personality showing up, and that is not who he is. And if we could just, like Jennifer says, when we get to be that judge, that's our wake up call, that we are judging. And I probably would have been judging Jennifer too for not taking control of the situation. You know,
there was that too.
Yeah. And that's not helpful. That's not helpful. But I just, everybody that's on this call right now, I guess I just want to recognize everybody that this is not easy. The path we're on we're not taking the easy path.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to be zombies just walking around and doing whatever. And this has been a tough couple of weeks. I mean, it just has been. So, I'm a little comforted to know that everybody else is feeling this way too, because I'm like, what is wrong with me? So, yeah. Very interesting, but thank you for sharing, Linda. I hesitated asking you, but you're very gracious in your explanation.
Yeah, thank you, Leslie. Jennifer, in class on Thursday in our Ascension Pathway class, reminded me of something that I forgot in my experience with this other person at the Stop Playing Small. Is then I can go into, I'm wrong and bad for believing in the separation. And what she said was, the separation is not bad or wrong. It's just the truth. So the separation is more like, we're all in this classroom And we're just children that are innocently, joyfully, we're in the classroom. We were in heaven, in the classroom of heaven with God. And we just decided innocently and joyfully to head out to the playground just for the fun of it. So the separation is not wrong or bad. There is nobody to blame for the separation. It doesn't make us bad that we chose the separation. It's just not the truth. And I forget that sometimes. Sometimes I'm just like, when I feel like I'm separate, that means I'm a bad spiritual student. That's not true either. So, yeah. And I feel like everybody's feeling it. Like we had the fall equinox. If you're on the other hemisphere, they had their spring equinox. Things are changing. And I feel like anytime there's that kind of a shift going on, planetary or otherwise, there can be turbulence. So, keep your seatbelt on. Remember to put your oxygen mask on first. Yeah. Thanks, Leslie. Anybody else? Oh, Grace, I see you. I'm asking you to unmute. Maybe you didn't raise your hand. Maybe it was my hand. Anybody else like to share? How has the week been for you? I know a couple of you have had some stuff. Had some stuff to deal with. You don't have to share about it, but I'm just telling you that this space is safe for you to do that if you would like. Go ahead, Kathy.
Well, hopefully some more people will share, but I mean, this is all, it isn't, I hadn't thought about that. Wasn't thinking about the full moon or the changes, but just noticing that stuff is happening. And I'm preparing to go to Florida for a couple of months just to sort of do my rest and recovery and be in that place of discerning of what is next for me. And I hadn't thought about it in that way. And I have to make a long 10-hour drive on Friday as I make my way down there because I have the cat with me. And I found myself being irritated that I was being asked to stay behind a little bit longer so I could do babysitting here for my children. And I said, I thought about it, and then I said, no, that isn't helpful to me. And I need to, I'll say stand my ground, but I need to take care of me. So I did, and it was okay. And lo and behold, another grandma stepped forward. But I went, just sitting here thinking, God has a sense of humor. And if there's something we are needing to get, it's like, okay, let's go with the flow here. And it's like, and one of the things I read on the next page, and I think it's the very last paragraph, it says, communion is impossible alone. No one who stands apart can receive Christ's vision. Let him be still and recognize his brother's need is his own. So my family was asking for what they need, and I was asking for what I need. And we could have been like this. And by saying, acknowledging what we need, sometimes it's peaceful. And but now I was in prayer call this morning with someone, and we were just talking about, oh, you're going to be on the road on a full moon. And I went, yeah. It's like, okay. But, then we just prayed about that. Well, let's ground ourselves in this weekend in that whatever each of us has to do, everything will flow as is needed and wanted. We just have to be grounded in the knowingness that we're safe, we're protected, and we're just allowing the flow of the universe to be in and through us. And that I'm not quite sure how this all relates to psychotherapy, but it's like it was nice to look at that and realize that okay, it's another road to go down. It's not good or bad, it's just another road. And if doing that leads us to new clarity, new understanding, so be it. So I like the clarity of this, because it says at the top, it is necessary, however, to teach forgiveness rather than condemnation. And I'd rather be there. So, and as I'm doing Karen J's work this weekend, she talks about we not only have to forgive these things that happened to us that are uncomfortable, we have to forgive ourselves for thinking we've seen the good stuff. It's all an illusion. It's like, talk about, oh, I hadn't thought about that. It's like, so just be present to yourself. Just find the love, the peace within yourself. And, when we see this stuff out there, it's just stuff. And if I can be grounded in that and smile, wow. But there's practice. So thanks, Linda.
Thank you, Kathy. Beautifully said. Anybody else like to share anything? Go ahead, Nancy Gail. There you are.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when Karen J, I was in that thing too, and it's like thanks for reminding me of that, because it's like how the highs I've been on, right? The miracles, the shifts, and it's like all of a sudden it's like, what is this? It's like I have not felt like this for years. It's like, seriously. I yelled at my daughter and was like, we were arguing. I said, wait, we have not seen. And it's like, what you said, Kev, it's like, I remember it's like the way I was raised, right? I had one person controlling my life, that perspective, like being brainwashed. It's like, that's the only concept I had. I wasn't allowed to check it out. It's my therapist he said to me, when in doubt, check it out. It's like, well, hey, Mark, I couldn't do that when I was a kid. Well, anyways, and then the thing about forgiving the good stuff, I said, and I remember I said, what? And then I said, oh, so here's God's telling me, Jesus, it's like the Holy Spirit's telling me, it's like, you want to be in charge of my life? Well, yeah, that's good. But, it's like, but you're not going to be like my mom, right? It's like, I was just doing this. And I said, okay, it's new. We got to forgive. It's like, it means releasing that thought. Okay. And it's my choice. Well, maybe I don't want to do that. So I like to enjoy the birds and the sunset and all that. And it's like the nature. Amy took me, we were wandering like David and I used to do. And we found a new park, right? So only a few miles from here. We don't have to go out of state or anything like that. Well, anyways, and I thought, oh, it's a choice. Well, for the time being, I'm going to choose to enjoy the birds. Of course, today, somehow or other, the cold temperatures and everything, they're not out here like they used to be. It's like, wait a minute, where do they all? It's like, I know, fall, but it's like, and it's cold. I've got my wool, old holy thing on. I'm not going to throw it out until it falls completely apart. But anyway, so I said, okay, it's a choice. And I can choose any moment, in any moment, whatever, which one, I want to enjoy nature. It's like, fine. I'm going to be the little kid that realizes now I have a choice. When that word is like, oh, that's what's stuck in my mind. Now I have a choice. I actually have a choice. So I'm going with that at the moment. When the stuff's great, I'm going to enjoy it. Sorry, I'm going to be the little kid. It's like, since the Holy Spirit knows anyway, and I'm, I'm safe in heaven anyway. I know that I'm in both worlds. I mean, it's like I'm in heaven, within heaven. I'm still there, and I'm this experience is still within the heaven. So this experience is all within the love. It's like, and I think, oh, so I'm, the visual person. That's like, oh, okay, so I'm safe. And I don't know if there's any little tweaks to this whole thing, but there might be. But and I wanted to one thing when I like when you were your experience like at the thing, and I was like I was like feeling the same thing. I said, yeah, and I had the same thoughts exactly. Come with one mind, right? And I'm thinking, Jennifer, why? Same thing. And it was like, so anyway, that's I'm going to stop now and mute myself so somebody else can take a turn, please. Because if you don't, I'll come back.
Thank you, Nancy Gail. Yeah, it was funny. It was interesting too, having that thought about, Jennifer should take over this, should take control of this situation. And I thought, no, because I know exactly what this is for. This is for us to grow. This is for us to learn. This is for us to have a healing. And I've had that same experience facilitating other things where, somebody said to me, you should do this or you should do that. And I'm like, it is what it is. Let all things be exactly as they are. And, have that feeling of, middle finger to me or middle finger to myself or middle finger to the other person. Yeah. So, I mean, we're all
What?
learning.
You know what else was interesting? It was like, I'm thinking, remember how I used to tell my story over and over and over? And I'm thinking, wait a minute here. It's like, It's like, okay, I get it. It's for me. This is what people used to put up with for all this time. This is me. As I didn't say anything, but I'm sitting here thinking, oh, okay, I get it. I can see.
It was
And
for us.
Jennifer, yeah, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yep. Diane.
I just want to say thank you for this conversation because all of it is resonating, and I didn't even realize everybody else was feeling kind of all the stuff that's going on. And this week I've been, a lot of people in my life are having more transitions and stuff. Like, it's not really me yet. I am noticing all the places where it's hitting me for me to do the work. And I've noticed how resistant I am to doing the forgiveness letters and stuff. I'm willing to do other things, but I'm like, those forgiveness letters, which I know are the most powerful, are the things that I'm resisting the most. And I've been able to, like today, like just physically really, 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 really tired. And yet I've been able to lean more in to the gratitude of what I'm creating while everything else is going on. Like, I've definitely been noticing some kind of shift happening. And like, I guess for me, it's like learning how to just kind of pulling myself out. Like, I'm still having a more difficult time, like separating myself from certain situations. Yet I'm able to pull myself out and like kind of sit back with it more. And then also see, like, my daughter's going through something, and so she lives down by the beach. So like, I created this, like, on a condo on a beach this week while we're handling all of her, what feels like chaos. I've also created this beautiful time here, yet I know it's all an illusion, yet it's like finding while I'm here, creating that balance of being able to find that peace and love where when you're in separate. I don't know, is that making sense? And so I just appreciate you sharing, because everything at the beginning was also something I experienced. And you actually saying the words out loud that were actually everything I was experiencing as well. And even not wanting to go to class, like really debating whether I even go back to the class and stuff. So I really appreciate that, because then I felt that oneness of I wasn't alone in that, and also seeing how it was hitting my other stuff, which in some ways I didn't work through it as much as you yet. It's again one of those things that I'm resisting, because I think everything, even the other people that are showing up, are similar to that person. And so it's like I'm seeing right now that that's the piece within me that is ready to be healed. So thank you for sharing.
Yay. Thank you, Diane. I have that same resistance to doing the damn forgiveness letters. You know, I've been doing them for 10 years and I know how powerful they are and what a shift I can have with them. And still I resist it every freaking time. Every time. But you know what? That's why Jennifer is doing those forgiveness letter writing workshops. There's one on Saturday. It's free. It's free, for crying out loud. It's at 11 a.m. So I won't get to be there because I'm facilitating the community call, but I will listen to it later because Elena is good. And she's facilitating this weekend's forgiveness letter writing workshop. So yeah, I sign up for every single one of them because I have that resistance. And there is never a time when there is not something that is up for me to write a forgiveness letter about. Never.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for sharing, Diane.
Thank you.
Yeah. Carolyn.
Yeah, I guess when you talked about forgiveness, it made me think you talking about also, the craziness of the last 2 weeks or maybe more. And I got a notice on Sunday from my niece that her mom passed away. And this is my ex-husband's sister. And I know what her life was like. She's young, she's much younger than me. She's like maybe more than 10 years younger than me. And it was just so heartbreaking. So heartbreaking. And the first thing that came to my mind was a judgment I just passed about her. That was the first thing. And I said, I have to write a forgiveness letter. And sorry about that. The home phone rang. I'm so sorry.
All right. I have that too. Answering machine on our home phone goes
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
Oh, my sister. I had to call my sister too because my sister and her were the same age. I'm not 8.5 years apart from my sister, and they were like the same age, and they hung out. And I guess there was that mention that it's all an illusion. Leslie was talking about that. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I am not there yet. That's, I can believe my perceptions are an illusion, but it's hard to believe that whole situation is just an illusion, And I go back and think about her life, very difficult life. Same thing like my ex-husband, very difficult life. And I think about, the times that I would talk to her because she was so angry and to let it go and everything. And I'm very glad and happy that my son, my younger son, gave me tickets for Christmas to see Joel Osteen at the Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. I'm from the Bronx, and my sister-in-law, from the Bronx, and I had no one in my life that would go to see Joel Osteen, because all of my friends were metaphysical. And I thought of her and I asked her, and she said, "Oh yeah, I'll go." So we went together, and it's such a loss. It's such a loss, and I do feel sad, very sad. And one of the things I just want to add to this is I listen a lot to different programs, like Greg Braden did the series on Gaia,
Mhm.
and other conversation he has, because he is an archaeologist. And one of the things, when he interviewed these indigenous people that were living more than 100 years, okay, the fact that they lived over 100, they had very positive outlooks on life. And he asked them, "What is the one thing that you find that is very difficult?" And most of them said it is losing their loved ones, and that they survived their loved ones. And that right now really touches me.
Yeah.
So yesterday I did take the day and listen to just beautiful, sweet chanting music to honor her, and to grieve. Just take the time out and just take time out. Thank you for letting me share.
Yeah. Thank you, Carolyn. I'm so sorry for the loss of your ex-sister-in-law. It's important, I feel like, for us to remember that even though it's all an illusion, we still have feelings, and that's part of the reason why we're here. And so, it's times like that where I just hear Gary Renard in my head saying, "Don't be weird. Don't be weird. You're not going to go to a funeral and say, well, it's all an illusion." You're going to, have empathy for the people, and condolences for them, and comfort them, and talk sweetly and kindly to them, and recognize that they're in pain. And we have to do that for ourselves as well. So just because we believe it's all an illusion, we know it's all an illusion. There's, levels of us that go in and out of recognizing that it is an illusion. And there's other times when it just doesn't feel like one.
Right.
And that's okay. It's that whole thing, like Jennifer was saying, to forgive ourselves for the separation, because it's not a bad thing. It just is what it is. And we're just on this playground right now. And sometimes we fall and scrape our knees, and we recognize that. And we, get out the mercurochrome and put the Band-Aid on, and all the
Right.
things that we would do to take care of ourselves. So,
Right.
yeah.
I particularly believe, like, that's what we're here for, is to comfort. If we can comfort another person and be our best and be the support that they need. I called her significant other last night, and I just told him, I'm here if you want to chat, you want to talk, and I don't want to avoid, like in the past I would avoid, because it's so in a way, it's so devastating. You know, she finally got to go down to North Carolina and live in North Carolina and have some peace. And, you know, her body just couldn't, she had leukemia. She was struggling with leukemia for a long time. And, you know, so that's all you can do, just be there.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful understanding. I really learned that, like, not to fix. I really learned that. I took a couple of months of chaplain training, and that was the big thing with chaplain training, is just to be with the person and allow them to share what they want to, and not go in the hospital room and say, "You want to pray?" And I was shocked about that, you know? So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it, you know,
Ki-
it's something that we have to learn as spiritual counselors, not to, you know, if somebody is crying or expressing emotions, like,
Yeah,
don't give them a tissue. Don't interrupt what's happening. Don't even put your hand on their shoulder or grab their hand. Allow whatever is happening to happen, because they obviously need for that energy to come out. Yeah.
yes,
Y-
Linda.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Carolyn, do you know what CPE is? Is that what you were talking about? Yeah, I
Yeah.
did that too. And that's exactly the pastor that did the prayer thing. He said, all you do is listen. You do nothing else.
Right.
And that's all I did. And it's like the same, and it's like people appreciated that. That's
Yeah.
what they needed.
Exactly.
And, you know, I needed that contact from the way I was raised. And, I needed, that's what I had needed all of my life. And, what the course says, give what you,
Exactly.
but I didn't know that at the time, but that's what I did. And that's what I got, what I received back. And it was like a wonderful, wonderful experience. I absolutely was
Yeah.
at home. I remember that was like a professional type thing. But before that, I had gone to, my pastor sent me to do all the hospital visitations. Anyway.
Nancy Gail, Kathy had her hand raised. Can I call on
Well,
her?
okay, yeah. So I just wanted
Marla.
to acknowledge Carolyn there. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, sweetie.
Thank
Kathy,
you, honey. Thank you.
Yeah, and it raised something up for me, Carolyn, and it's a poem that I came across as I was working through all these death experiences, which we all have. And no, we don't get good teaching about this so much as how to deal with this. But I ran across this poem from Thich Nhat Hanh that I do share with people, but it seems to fit into this place, this section we're reading. I mean, I can't call it psychotherapy, but it goes like this: the body is not me. I am not limited by this body. I am life without boundaries. I have never been born, and I have never died. Look at the ocean and the sky filled with stars, manifestations from my wondrous true mind. Since before time, I have been free. Birth and death are only doors through which we pass, sacred thresholds on our journey. Birth and death are a game of hide and seek. So laugh with me, hold my hand. Let us say goodbye. Say goodbye to meet again soon. We meet today. We will meet again tomorrow. And we'll meet at the source every moment. We meet each other in all forms of life. And I just thought it was a way to handle things that no one has really taught us. So we're teaching ourselves. So thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love that. That was wonderful.
Thank you, Catherine. Carla, and then we'll wrap it up.
It's a lot happens here. So I'll just try to condense really quickly what share it was. second paragraph, the second line. In this world, there is an astonishing tendency to join contradictory words into one term without perceiving the contradiction at all. So the next one is the same paragraph, the fourth line. Religion is experience. Psychotherapy is experience. And I think life is experience. That's all it is how we meet, the meaning we give to it that change, it seems to change everything, but it's not. It's just an experience. And so I think you could say this way. No one, the third paragraph, line 1, no one who learns to forgive can fail to remember God. And what is forgiveness? Well, it's love. Because only love is real, right? The last one is paragraph 8. Each one of us, each one must share one goal with somebody else, and in so doing, lose all sense of separate interest. So what I hear from everything that's shared, that responding in poem, that responding to someone who is going through a series of emotions arising, it's love. It's all love. Even those feelings that are rising, everything is love, and everything is something coming up for healing. Healing is love too. So everything is love. Everybody is innocently choosing whatever they choose. And I think at that point in their awareness, that's the most loving choice. Somehow, whether they're aware of it or not. So love. And so I know I've read this before. I'm gonna read it again. It's called Life is Simple. Life is love. It is simple. If you feel anything other than peace, you have made an error in perception. You've accepted something as true is not. Life is simple. Ignore the complex. There is no figuring out life. Life is simple. Life is love. Focus on the simple, the divine or flowing form. Is the meaning given the mind gives of that experience that you are facing now, of what you think as true, of what the mind says, and the experience in response to the believed meaning. Is that peace? Then the meaning is not love. Everything is allowed in the healing of awareness. Life is simple. Love is all there is. On truth. Focus on acceptance. Focus on peace. Because when you are choosing peace, you are choosing love.
Thank you, Carla. It was beautiful. So we're going to wrap up. I encourage you all to read Jennifer's blog for today on, what was it called? Feeling Connected in Love, which is about missing people, that I found really helpful for myself as well. So next week we will continue in psychotherapy, chapter 2, section 3. It's a short one, the role of the psychotherapist. It's only 4 paragraphs, so it won't take long to read. And I am going to read from the Pathways of Light lessons, insights from yesterday, because it kicked my butt. It was lesson 268. Let all things be exactly as they are. Probably most of us do not think of ourselves as being God's critic. Yet, if we look at what the world is for, it is clearly a criticism of God's creation. God, being love, which is one, created only love, extending love, while still keeping his creations one with love. The world is the manifestation of the ego idea of not wanting to share love equally with all, of wanting specialness. A critic is not satisfied with what it judges. The ego has judged against God, being unsatisfied with love being given to all equally. Only love is real. So the ego seeks to alter reality, replacing love with specialness. The title of today's lesson, Let All Things Be Exactly as They Are, is setting the intent to stop seeking to replace love with substitutes. In the What is the Body section that goes with this lesson, we are told that the body was made to keep us safe from love. To allow ourselves to experience love, we must give up our special, unique identity, which the body is used to define. Identifying with the body keeps us separate and holds specialness in place. It could be said the world was made to show us exactly what everything is not, to show us illusions. This is why it is so important for us to develop a strong inner communication with the Holy Spirit in our minds, so that we learn to trust his vision more than we trust the sight of the body's eyes. This is the means by which we let go of the ego's substitutes for the reality of God's love. By learning to look past them, we maintain our openness to the Holy Spirit's vision by staying at peace. Thus will we remember that we were created as love, by love, and learn to see only love. Holy Spirit, I dedicate my day to following your vision, saying what you would have me say, doing what you would have me do. In deep gratitude, I would follow only you today. I am willing to accept the truth today. Today's lesson helps me with that practice. As I practice letting all things be exactly as they are, I will remember that all things are safe in love as love. Today's practice helps me remember that I am still love as God created me. And because love sees only love and extends only love, I will feel safe in love's eternal presence. What a wonderful opportunity I have today to accept the truth that only love is real. Today is a happy day as I practice letting all things be exactly as they are.
That was a beautiful lesson for me yesterday.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah,
That is love.
exactly. Thank you, everybody. I love you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank
See you all
you.
next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Nancy.